Hello, everyone. We are at our first live stream on Pish Posh Reselling. I decided to just quickly throw a live stream together, a live presentation together, just to kind of see how it's going. I wasn't expecting like a huge crowd tonight or anything. I didn't get a big chance to promote it or to talk about it in any other videos, and so it's all good. It is what it is. I am keeping it really simple as far as like the hardware and the. I decided to just use the webcam version of this, no extra software or anything, so I can't pop up little comments and I can't screen share or anything like that. So we're just kind of gonna just keep it simple. And the stuff I wanted to talk about today anyway, about getting ready for quarter four, was a video I wanted to make anyway. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone. I can kind of get a idea of what it's like to do a live stream, and I see someone made a comment. So Lori, hi, hello, welcome so much. And yeah, I'm excited. I do think I will try to do some live streams going forward on a regular basis. We'll see. I'm not really good with schedules and committing to being a certain place at a certain time. So we'll see how that goes. But I think it'll be fun. So first off, one of the things I wanted to do, I do have a couple little show and tell type things too, because talking about quarter four can kind of be boring. But I also wanted to just share a couple things that I found and then something that I did. So this first thing I want to share with you is it goes back to one of the haul videos that I did when I went on the road trip, and I we found this little organizer. Okay, and I think I've shown you in one of our what sold as well. My husband had found, I don't know if you've seen these at thrifts. They're made by Lerner. They're usually brown. They look like a fake wood, but they're made out of plastic. So in one of our what solds, he actually ended up painting them a certain color, like green or blue or whatever. I personally have one that I use that he painted like a turquoise color, and we've sold a few on Etsy. And so we had picked up another one, and I think we picked it up in our thrift store in our road trip vacationing, thrifting, and we were kind of caught up in the moment, we said, because they don't sell for a ton of money, but once he paints them, then actually they sell pretty well. And so there was a viewer, when I showed it, a viewer said, "You need to paint it Barbie pink." And that was Charlotte McCaig. So Charlotte, if you see this ever in replay or whatever, um, we finally, it's been like a month, but we finally got around to this. So my husband painted it this Barbie pink, right? Isn't it super cute? So I need to get this listed right away. I probably won't put it in. We normally put him in um his Etsy shop, but it's kind of more of a masculine feel in his Etsy shop, and so I think I'm just gonna stick with like Poshmark and Depop for that. So anyway, hopefully you'll see that in a what sold coming up. We might, I think the last few we've sold just like in the $20 range. We'll probably kind of keep it in that same range. And we might even have, if that one goes quickly, my husband, we might have another one in our backlog. So, maybe that'll be something we can whip out another one and see how they do. So Barbie Pink, though, right now, it's going to be a short, limited span. It might go into maybe say Halloween or so, as people are, you know, as people are getting closer to maybe wanting costumes or things like that. Right now, I think people are just kind of into the movie, and they're into the whole vibe and wearing pink when they go see the movie and things like that. Yes, it was spray paint. I can maybe put in the replay. I should have had the can up here with me, but he bought, a can of spray paint, and Yes, definitely use Barbiecore in your title. I use that in my sale on my last What Sold when I sold that Free People fleece. We want to use that hashtag Barbiecore. Very good. Okay. So, what I wanted to talk about today, I have another show and tell. I'll save that for the end. That one's creepy. I'm going to close out the night with something horrifying for you to take with you. But anyway, I was going to talk about just getting ready for quarter four. So, historically, quarter four, the last quarter of the year, has been good for reselling. It's been good for it's like the best time of the year for resellers. There's a mix of things. There's holidays. I mean, if you're selling used items, it might not impact you so much, but if you're selling, a lot of times people do give gifts of pre-owned items, or collectibles or things like that. People are just home more. They're back kind of nesting and they're getting things together for their house, and they want a different wardrobe. The weather's changing, and winter clothing can is definitely, since it's a little bit more substantial, you can get better prices for clothing in the wintertime than in the spring and summertime. And so resellers for years, we always look forward to quarter four. A lot of it spills over into quarter one. I usually still do pretty well in January and February. But what can we do to get ready for it? Now, this year's been a little bit different. We've had the last couple of years with the pandemic, quarters were all four quarters were doing pretty good. Um, and so this year is a little bit different. The economy, all the, different things that resellers talk about. So I don't know what we'll see for a quarter four coming up, but I'm thinking positive about it. I think it definitely will be, I think this summer personally, I've kind of stayed steady. It hasn't been like mind-blowingly great, but it's been steady. So I do expect to see an uptick in things. So for the rest of August and um, September, then what can we do? I was thinking of four different things that I'm going to work on, and I just thought I would share this with you. So one thing I've kind of already started doing, and I'll talk about it a little bit in tomorrow's What Sold video. But I am just doing some housekeeping, right? So I'm doing when things are a little bit slower, it's a good chance to kind of do the housekeeping in your shops, right? So you can go into old listings, you can end them, you can sell similar. When you do that, you can check your titles and check your pricing, anything that you can do to kind of tweak the listing and then relaunch it as a new listing. So I've been doing that because I've been needing to change over some of my first class shipping into Ground Advantage. So I've just kind of been working through it, and then I explain in tomorrow's what sold a little bit more. Just I was having a glitch with my promoted listings, and I just want my listings to start over again because they're stuck in this no man's land right now. So I ended up I'm ending things like my listings. I'm going from my oldest listings, so they're not super exciting things, and I am, ending all of them, and then I'm going in and I'm tweaking and checking prices. Some things, my husband kind of shot for the moon on things, and I'm going to just drop the price down to something a little bit more reasonable and just see if we can get some things to move. So I have started doing that. No big results with it yet. I'm doing my oldest listings, and so they're not like the hot items. And honestly, some of them should maybe end up being booted out of my inventory, but I'm not into that at the moment. I'm just working on kind of revamping everything at the moment. Okay, so it's something that we probably want to do right now because while things are a little bit slower, it's a good time to do that because once things start picking up in quarter four, then you're not going to have time to do that. And you're not going to want to do that. It might not matter as much as long as, stuff is moving. So it's a good time to do that. So that kind of leads into a second one. And this is one that I am like, I'm really bad at this. You guys let me know, do you do this? But it's a good time to take an inventory as well. So sometimes like you go in, like you can go into like your physical inventory is kind of what I'm talking about. And going in and double checking that what you have in your inventory matches your items. So especially if you cross list with, list perfectly or Vendu or whatever, um, it can sometimes get hard to keep track of what's listed where. And software is good. Vendu actually did just come out with, what do they call it? Auto detection, auto sales detection. Um, and so they are working on that technology that if something sells right now, it's just eBay and Poshmark, then it will delist the items from where you have them listed. And it will do that automatically. Right now, I think your computer, like Vendu has to be like running on your computer. Your computer has to be on for that sales detection to work. I think eventually they're trying to get it so that it works on the app so it can just be, happening all the time. So I went and enabled that, and there was a couple times I saw, that I I went to go end the item somewhere and it had already ended it. And so that's really cool. I know, they've been talking about trying to do that for years. And it's in beta. So there are going to be some glitches and everything like that. But so what I'm saying is there's always that chance that something can get missed. You end it somewhere or it sells somewhere. And I've done that a bunch. It happened to me this week. I thought I had sold something and forgot, oh yeah, it's listed on Poshmark too. And I had to somebody made me an offer on Poshmark and I was like, oh no. And fortunately, it was an offer and I could just end it, right? So it's a good chance right now to just kind of go through your inventory and see what matches because there's also listings that end that kind of disappear. It's not just, eBay folklore. It happens. So you might have things out in your bins that aren't listed. So we have a comment. Teach Bake Flip says, my husband and I checked our entire inventory a few months ago, found a few items that weren't listed on any platform, and we thought they were. So yeah, exactly. We, I'm sure that's going to happen with us. Sometimes that happens. We do end listings because we're going to revamp them or something. And then we just get busy, we get caught up, and we like there's one listing that we forget to redo. Right. And so then it goes off of your unsold after 90 days. And all of a sudden now you have an item and you have no listing that goes with it. So anyway, we're really bad at that because it's just kind of tedious, right? And so I think we're definitely gonna try to do that in September, at least by then. My husband usually works more with me in the reselling business by like fall and winter. And so we'll have that time to I think we want to redo also our storage for our clothing out there and get things a little bit more organized so we spend less time looking for items when it's time to ship them. So, oh, we have a hello, Fleur de Montagne Jewelry. Hi, Shannon. Hello. Anyway, I'm so glad you guys are all here. This is fun. Anyway, so we're gonna work on that. That's on our to-do list is to do an inventory, just double check our numbers because same thing. Sales start getting better. You get busier with listing, you get busier with selling, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're selling something you don't have anymore, or there's stuff sitting that could be selling, and on and on and on. Okay. So that is two items that I thought of for getting ready for quarter four. The third thing I thought of was to stock up on shipping supplies. So You wanna be prepared, right? So the US Postal Service, of course, has free shipping supplies. Um, those are easy, obviously they're free. But it also gets as it gets busier in quarter 4, the shipments of those supplies can slow down, and they can get back ordered or whatever like that. So if there's any, sizes of, you know, that you use on a regular basis, like padded flat rate envelopes or certain we use one that's called like a we call it the mug box. It's like 7 by 6 by 6, kind of a cube, and we use that one a lot. Some of the medium flat rate boxes we use too. So anyway, we are gonna take an inventory of what we need in our shipping station as well and see what we can order from the post office. But then also there's things that we just end up having to order. We order jewelry boxes and we order stay flat, high Terra thrifts. We order stay flat envelopes. We order poly mailers, different things. There's some stuff we get from our eBay store, and our eBay subscription gets us like $25 a month of free inventory of shipping supplies. But a lot of other stuff we have to just order and bite the bullet and pay for it, but it's a cost of goods kind of, well, not cost of goods, but it's a write-off on your taxes because it's part of doing business, right? So I generally, in the description of my videos, I do have a list of um, some of the shipping supplies that we look for or that we get and that we end up and where we end up getting them. A lot of times it's on Amazon. We got our bubble wrap last time from American Bubble Boy. It had a Java the cat, happy to catch you live. Yes, the mug boxes. We love the mug boxes. Actually, and like a sneak peek about tomorrow's What Sold video, it's got some shipping tips and demos in it. And so we talked about the mug box a little bit in there. Anyway, um, so in our description in our video, we usually do have links to some of the, things that we usually use for shipping, tools, whatever. And some of those are Amazon. Like, oh, that's what I was saying. Bubble Boy, right? American Bubble Boy has a good price on bubble wrap. I haven't heard any complaints from my husband about the bubble wrap. And he would usually let me know if something is not working. So that is a good deal. Now, some of those links, this is just something I was going to digress into a little bit, just, you know, um, some of the links that I do have in my description and a lot of other YouTubers have in their description are what are called affiliate links. And that just means that if you purchase from my link, then I'll get a small percentage. Sometimes people don't realize, like, if they go into, say, they click through my Amazon link for something, and if they make any other purchase, now it used to be like for 30 days. I don't know if it's still 30 days. If it's that long still, it might be, they might have shortened it, but it keeps track of the fact that you came into Amazon through my link, and um, a purchase will, you know what? It's not 30 days. It's probably like 24 hours now. I'm probably thinking way back in my blogging days. But anyway, I think so. I think it's 24 hours. Anything you buy in 24 hours from that link, even if it's totally unrelated to the link you came through, I can still get a percentage. And it doesn't cost the buyer anything. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just a little perk that I get for kind of pointing you in Amazon's direction. Now, there's it's a really nice way to, like, support small channels or just support channels that you've had, gotten good information from, or things like that. Um, there are different ways to support small channels. I was thinking about it the other day. Obviously, anytime you watch a small channel, that's great. Um, anytime you can watch and hit the like button, or if you can share the video with somebody, or you can do all those kinds of things. That doesn't cost anything, but that helps us enormously. You know, YouTubers, we don't reselling YouTubers. Obviously, the big names are making a lot of money at it, but as we're small YouTubers that, we don't I make a little bit of money from ads and things like that, but I definitely could make more by using the time to list at this point, right? And our goal, honestly, I'll tell you right now, our goal with YouTube is not to get rich off of it. I know that sounds weird, but I I don't need a second house or anything like that. I would just like to use it as a stream of income to help support our family. And at the same time, it's nice knowing that I can share the knowledge that I've gotten, that I've built up over the years, and I can share that knowledge with you, and then maybe it helps you guys support your families too. And my husband does deal with some health problems and things like that, and so he does work in construction, and it's getting harder and harder, and so we're talking about what are different ways that we can do things, that we can work on things where he could maybe step away from construction a little bit. So, honestly, that's just our goal with this is, not to make tons of money. So, a lot of other resellers are in that same boat. They're just trying to share content and, support their families, and it takes a little bit of time to make videos like this. So anyway, I just wanted to share that sometimes you'll see links in people's descriptions and in ours, and some of those things are affiliate, some are not. But any kind of interaction even that you can give with the videos is greatly appreciated. But anyway, I went off on a tangent and I talked about money. It was so crass. Okay, Tara Thrift sold a sewing pattern for $40 a few minutes ago. Yay! All right. Okay. So, sewing pattern. I have a story about that. I'll probably tell it again, but I sold a sewing pattern yesterday also for $40, and I lost it. It's terrible. I was filming my what sold, and I was like, "Oh, I was gonna tell the story of how I lost my sewing pattern." And I ended up I forgot to mention it at the end, and I was like, "Well, I might have to cancel that sale anyway. So if I find it, I'll talk about it on next week's what sold." But anyway, I'll just tell you the story now. My sewing patterns are actually the one niche I have that is really organized. So I have filing cabinets, I have an actual sewing pattern um, cabinet from a store, and it says McCall's on it and everything. It's vintage. So the sewing patterns that are listed are actually organized, and they're in numerical order, which is for me, that's amazing. So if I can't find a sewing pattern, it's really weird. And so right away I checked, did I sell this already? What happened? And I ended up looking, and I double checked, I have Simplicity altogether, I have Vogue altogether. And I thought, well, maybe I misfiled it under the wrong company or something like that, even though the numbers are kind of different. And I looked everywhere. And then I have this one other little bin that has vintage patterns that I know there was a handful that I didn't file yet, right? But then the problem is this is a pattern that's been listed for a year and a half. And so it was before we moved. So all I could imagine is it's just in some random bin somewhere. And I'm like, this is going to take forever to look for this. And I was not looking forward to it. So I let it go for a little while. I went to bed. I thought, you know what? Let me check this one desk. And I woke up this morning and I was like, I used this pattern in the sewing pattern video that you guys saw. It was one of the ones I used to demo what kinds of patterns to look for. And I ended up with a pile of those patterns that never got filed back. Some were listed and some were not listed. Oh my goodness. So I found the pile right away. I knew where the pile was at this point because, yeah, anyway, everything got moved. I knew where the pile was before, and then my kids helped move a bunch of stuff out into the garage. So I just had to find where they put it. And I found the pattern and I shipped it on time. Anyway, I thought that was funny. Do you guys lose stuff? I hate losing stuff. It's like, it's really annoying. Um, I hate the, like, I usually have to let it go for a little while and then think about it again, and then we find it, or I'll tell my husband and then he'll look again where I looked, and then he usually can see it and I couldn't see it. That happens sometimes, right? Okay, so I have one more thing that I was thinking of for what to do to get ready for quarter four. We talked about tweaking all your listings, right? And we talked about doing an inventory, a physical inventory. So do all these things while stuff is a little bit slow. Um, and then the inventory part I'm bad at. And then stock up on those shipping supplies. Yeah, it is the kid's fault. I really shouldn't blame my husband, but it sometimes could be him too. Couldn't be me. I don't know. It's always me because I'm the least organized of the family. Um, let's see. We talked about shipping supplies, USPS, get stuff. You can also ask friends and family for shipping supplies. That can come in handy. We've hesitated a little bit sometimes because then you get everything and then you have to have a place to put everything. And but I know people who also go to like Dollar Tree for small boxes, or Target or Walmart or someplace like that. And or they put an ad out, like on a free thing, that they'll come pick up packaging. So there's lots of different ideas, for where we can get shipping supplies, but it pays to have all those things ahead of time, right? Okay. So the last thing I'm going to say is just for number 4 is just list and list and list and list. My listing challenge, you know what? I never even added it up, my final numbers, because sorry, wrong notebook. Not that I didn't care. It was what it was. Like, everything I listed during that listing challenge was way more than I would have done if I hadn't done a listing challenge. And so I'm good with that. Um, and if you've seen some of my what solds, and actually the one that's coming out tomorrow, I've sold quite a few of the items that have sold during that time were from the listing challenge. And so let's see, 78. Okay, 78 items out of 100 is what I finally ended up with. I was, I don't know. By the last, like, days 9 and 10, I was so done with the listing challenge. I was sick of clothing. So I'm thinking my problem is my listing challenges are too long. I think I need to do a week, not 10 days. I need to stop focusing on one niche when I do it, or niche, however you prefer. So I don't know. Maybe next time I just need to do a week, 10 items a day, because that is pushing it for me. 10 items a day. I don't know why I'm so slow. 10 items a day of anything on eBay. Or should I do any platform? I don't know. Do you guys have ideas for a listing challenge? I know some of my other stores are neglected, so I do need, maybe what I should do. I have the Flatware store, I have the sewing pattern store, I have Ruby Lane Vintage and eBay. Now, I know I have Poshmark and Depop and stuff, but the stuff that goes on eBay first goes to there. So if we just kind of consider it's like 4 stores. My husband has his store that's separate. So I could do 5, 10, 15, 20. Ooh, that would be a lot. I could do 2 items in each store a day. So I could do 8 items a day, 2 items on each platform for a week, or should I do 10 days? I don't know. I like the idea of doing a listing challenge once a month. So this it would be August's listing challenge, and it would be at the end of the month again. So I will give that some more thought. But when I say list, I there's I do end up switching at this point into more fall and winter type clothing. So I know everybody says just list what you have whenever you have it and just list it, which is true. But if you have, like I do, a profit pile and you have a collection of summer clothing and you have a collection of winter clothing, it just makes more sense to prioritize like the fall and the winter and that type of thing, right? So I would say, so I personally am switching to like fall and winter type clothing, things that can be in between seasons, long sleeve shirts or jeans or whatever. But then I'm also thinking about what, like I said before, people are like this time of year, they, as we go into fall, they start nesting, they start having more people over. There's the holidays. So there's holiday items. If you're into that, those types of things you can list. Dinnerware, people need replacements. They need to stretch out. They're going to have company. Oh, I need another place setting. Same thing with flatware. Flatware sales do really well. They pretty much do pretty well all year round, but it's definitely as people are thinking about having company and having large gatherings that they're like, uh-oh, we don't have enough teaspoons, that kind of thing. So flatware, and I have flatware videos if you've seen those. I have a small little dinnerware video, but that's going to be very specific dinnerware that you want to look for. And then coffee mugs. So I know a lot of you found me because of the coffee mug video that I did back in the day and a couple months ago. So coffee mugs, my coffee mug sales generally do go up in the fall and winter. So I do kind of try to focus. If I have coffee mugs to list, this is a good time to get them going. So anything else you guys think of? Um, Anything else as far as something that you would list a little bit more often in the fall and winter that you can kind of start getting your store stocked up on? I always tend to be like a little bit late in that. I'm doing it as people start buying, and I'm like, I feel like I'm trying to play catch up like the whole time after that. Um, so I end up wanting to, like this year, I'm like, okay, it's August, even though it's 105 degrees in some places. um, I'm gonna list some sweaters. I'm gonna list some base layer merino wool. I'm gonna start listing fall fashions or jackets or things because some of that stuff is already selling. People are thinking ahead. Even if it's hot, they don't want to be hot anymore, and so they want to start planning on some of the things that they're looking for. Oh, yarn and craft supplies. That Tara Thrift says that people craft while they hibernate. That is so true. Sewing patterns, my sales do go up in the winter on sewing patterns. So crafting for sure. Um, and a lot of people make things, right, for gifts. And so they might be scrambling to kind of make something. So, that could even be started off in the summertime. People might start thinking about that too. But yeah, definitely crafting. Good call. Anyway, so I started off with the show and tell for those of you who weren't here, I started off with my show and tell. My little Barbie pink organizer that my husband upcycled for me. Well, he painted it. And now I'm going to share a scary find. So I went to a yard sale and it ended up being a lot of vintage. And this woman, I'm pretty sure she had a booth or something somewhere. A lot of the pricing on it seemed like it was left over from a booth. And so her adult daughter was helping her kind of clear some things out. So, and it was kind of set up very, part of it was just like a table, a bunch of linens thrown on the table, but then other parts were curated a little bit more. I didn't get any footage or anything like that. It was pretty hot and I was just like, I had limited time, but I couldn't believe how much vintage was there. So I wanted to like really focus on going through it. And I turn the corner and I see a bunch of dolls. When I said creepy, did you think dolls? And I see these, okay, hopefully no one's offended by if they think these are cute. I see these dolls and I was like, oh, okay, so anything, right? Big eyes is popular. And so I immediately was like, big eye dolls. And then this one, especially, they're the same, but this one, somebody, who's that? Mitzi. Hi, Mitzi. You're like, what? Do you know what it is, Mitzi? Yeah? Do you know him? Do you remember him? Have you seen him? Look what she's wearing. And then look at her pose. Is this it? Yeah. She's asking for a handout. And she's in rags and she's asking for a handout. Isn't that messed up? Like, anybody remember these dolls? They're from the 60s. Okay, Mitzi, you've seen them before though, right? You forget her name. Her name is Little Miss No Name. And so guys, you need to look up Little Miss No Name on eBay and see the prices. And we're talking hundreds. Can be hundreds of dollars, right? It depends on how complete they are. Now, I don't know if there's a version with or without, or something is missing or whatever, but the ones that get the most money to add, that's why you can remember it. Little Miss No Name, you can't remember her name. The ones that sell for the most money have a tier. Okay, so add insult to injury, she would have this big, like, clear tear on her face. So she's asking for a handout and she's crying. Like, who thought a little girl would want to play with that? Anyway, so she doesn't have any underwear. The ones with the most money have the tier. They have the burlap dress. They have the original underwear. And what I have going for me is the burlap dress. Now, it doesn't, unless the tier was on and like just pops off or something like that, this doesn't look like it was missing. I don't know how the tier was attached to it. So I don't know for positive if there's a version that just didn't have a tier and then they did the tier later or took the tier away or something like that. Anyway, I have the safety pin, which is, I guess, good, right? Anyway, so this was good. And then she was with her. And I think having them be twins is like terrifying, even more. Okay, so she doesn't even have the dress. She got some hand-me-down dress from somebody else. So I won't get as much money for her as I will get for her. But I put these on Ruby Lane. I listed them today. So we're going to see how fast they sell. Okay. They are, I listed her for $185 and I listed her for like $125. Now those prices are a little bit higher than what I can get, what I've seen on eBay. Do you like them, Mitzi? Would you put them in your house? They're amazing, huh? Tara Thrift thinks they're creepy. I'll tell you one thing. They've been in my garage. I brought them home. We messed with our kids with them. My husband, we were in the garage and I was showing him. And I said, these are going to make us money, so don't even say anything. And so we closed the garage to the house door. And then we knock really hard. And my 16-year-old comes and my husband was like hiding and he was just like stuck the doll out in his face. Anyway, so I've out of deference to my sensibilities of my boys, they've been hiding in the garage and face down. And so we have them I have them in my eBay, my reseller lair down here in the basement. And so I listed them today and I threw them in one of these cabinets. But I was like, you know what? I never got to share these on the channel because I didn't do a haul video with these. But I wanted you to see them because I wanted you to, you know what? I need to do a screenshot of this. Anyway, see if I can remember how to do that. Okay. So I I wanted you guys to see them because smile. The they're worth money. So if you gotta look for big eyes, like that's the way to remember it. Because I at the garage sale, I couldn't remember their name. I just saw big eyes and I was like, Blythe popped into my head, but those are like more Barbie size or something like that, right? I've never seen one of those in person either. And I was like, big eyes, that's good. I know that's good. They are by Hasbro and they're marked Hasbro 1965. So anyway, I was saying that they are worth a little bit less on eBay. The prices I could get on eBay probably would be closer to like 125 or 130 or so and 100. But when I went over to Ruby Lane, I was looking at Ruby Lane, which is kind of known for dolls and stuff like that. And they had some really complete ones with the tier and the underwear and stuff. And they were selling theirs in like the over $200 to $300 range. And everything that had been listed that was still showing on Ruby Lane was sold. So there was none available for sale. So I decided to throw mine on Ruby Lane, bump my price up a little bit. I'm still less than the complete dolls. But anyway, so we'll see if Ruby Lane ends up being a really good market. I have a feeling these are going to go overseas. I think they're really common in popular in Japan. And I think they even like fancy them up a little bit. So they'll kind of take something in this condition and then probably replace the tier or make it a sparkle tier or I don't know, dress them pretty. Well, I don't know. I think she's supposed to be dressed like that, but anywho, what do you guys think? Let's see. Tara Thrift says, I have real life twins who are scared of all my dolls I have for sale. Make me keep them in the garage too. Yep. I do it. I do it for my boys' sake, but I try to have fun with them in the first place. Anyway, so keep an eye out in my what sold videos. Keep an eye out for dolls. For these dolls, I'll let you know if they sell. And anyway, I hope you guys are having a great summer and it's gotten a little bit cooler. I don't know. Is it still hot where you are? We had 70 degrees the other day. It's so nice. It was only low 80s today. We had some rain, which we haven't had. We had some thunderstorms, which we don't have unless they are dry and cause fires. And we have about a week or so of like the temp dropped from mid 90s, high 90s back down to like 80s. So I'm sure it'll go back up again, but I'm hoping that just kind of gives the fires a little bit of chance to get put out. But it's much more comfortable. So anyway, that's really all I had to talk about today. Like I said, I wanted to keep it simple. Next time I do this, if you guys want to do another live together sometime, Monday nights is probably going to be the best night for me, unless, someone has another idea, but I will look into a software where I can pop up your comments over on the side and also where I can screen share. So I can do some lives where we can do something, a little bit educational and chat. I like the idea of kind of doing a show and tell in a live because it's fun to get reactions from people right away about the stuff you find. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and throw this as a video and you can make comments on there too or whatever and share with your friends. So, like I said, tomorrow morning I'll have a what sold coming out, and the format of that is going to be a little bit different than usual. So look for that, and then I'll have some more stuff for you later in the week. So thank you everybody so much for coming. Um, oh, I see someone else. Catherine, thanks for joining. I am going to go eat some dinner. I have a wonderful husband who is making it while I do this. And so have a good rest of the Monday night and have a good week.